America's farmlands, once the heartbeat of our nation's pride, are facing a silent crisis. Imagine ripe tomatoes in South Florida plowed under, not due to weather or poor yields, but because harvesting costs more than the crop is worth. It's a gut-wrenching reality spreading across the country. We've long believed that with land, water, and sunshine, American agriculture could never falter. Yet in 2025, 10 vital crops are left to rot in fields, not from farmer neglect, but because economic pressures have stripped away the incentive to harvest. From milk poured out to waste, potatoes dumped in landfills, corn selling for half its value with no takers, to soybeans ripening under vast plains without international buyers, these are the stories unfolding now. Fertilizer prices have doubled. Per USDA reports, labor is scarce and market demands shift unpredictably. Each dawn, farmers face a haunting question: will this season's planting keep the farm afloat or sink it deeper into financial strain? Agriculture, once America's pride, now burdens the very people who built it. On Top 10 America Beyond, we're uncovering the 10 crops that once symbolized abundance but now challenge farms nationwide. If this hits home, hit that like button, share your thoughts on farming in the comments, and subscribe to Top 10 America Beyond for more stories that matter. We're counting down from crops facing the steepest production drops, revealing a web of rising costs and dwindling returns. Let's begin with a crop that's long been a steady earner but now sees planted acres at their lowest in a decade.
Top 10 America Beyond.
Number 10. Sugarcane. In Florida, Louisiana, and Texas, sugarcane has been a family farm lifeline, passed down through generations. But in 2025, this reliability is crumbling like sugar in hot tea. USDA data shows U.S. sugarcane production at 1.75 million tons for the 2024-25 season, down 6% from last year. Planted acreage has hit a decade low as farmers pivot to soybeans or corn, hoping for better margins. Raw sugar prices linger at 13.5 cents per pound, a 15% drop year over year, barely covering harvest costs. In Florida, sugar stockpiles have surged 20%, not from sales but from absent buyers. Cheaper imports from Brazil and India flood markets, sidelining local efforts. Growing an acre of cane costs 5 to 8% more due to fertilizer and fuel spikes. Processing mills have cut seasons from 8 to 5 months, reducing worker shifts. Some farmers sell sugar only land for livestock or veggies to survive. As mills idle and harvesters rust, growers question sugarcane's viability. Can alternative crops save these farms, or is the system too broken? As we shift to crops pitched as farming's future, the reality is far less promising. Number 9. Alternative crops. Alternative crops like quinoa and soy substitutes were hailed as lifelines, promising rotation benefits and new markets. But in 2025, they're proving to be traps. USDA reports show these crops cover 3.5 million acres, up 8% this year, yet prices are crashing. Quinoa at $5 per pound, down 25% from 2024. Farmers are forced into fire sales to avoid total loss. High-cost tech, imported seeds, and processing setups strain small farm budgets. Domestic markets hesitate, and exports snag on global regulations. A Montana quinoa grower said, "I thought I was pioneering, now I'm just keeping fields alive to save my lease." These crops haven't replaced income, they've turned farms into failed experiments. The system pushed innovation but abandoned farmers when markets faltered. If these saviors are struggling, what's next for crops tied to volatile global chains? Have you tried alternative crops? What challenges did you face? The lessons from sugarcane and alternatives show resilience needs community backing. Supporting local farmers ensures our food future. Let's choose wisely. Number 8. Pecans. In rural America, pecan trees were once a farmer's savings account, their branches symbolizing stability. Now, they cast shadows over cracked soil, signaling financial strain. In-shell pecans once funded harvests and education, but in 2025, buyers are disappearing. Markets in Mexico and Asia have slashed orders, and US stores opt for cheaper imports. In Georgia and Texas, warehouses overflow, with farmers paying for irrigation and storage to prevent waste. The irony cuts deep. More tree care means bigger losses, not from poor effort, but a system that no longer protects local growers. Taxes, insurance, and labor costs rise, while revenue shrinks. Orchards stand untouched, symbols of a fading era. For families tending pecans across generations, it's a heritage under threat. They persist to hold their land, not from hope but necessity. How has the pecan market shift hit your community? As we move to rice, even staples are becoming burdens. Number 7. Rice. Rice, a bedrock of American agriculture, once guaranteed food on tables with little worry. But in 2025, it's a heavy weight on farmers' shoulders. In Arkansas and California, silos are packed, not from demand, but from missing buyers. Global and domestic markets have cooled, with prices sliding. A growing rice costs more than ever. Fertilizer, labor, fuel, and insurance are at decade highs, yet returns dwindle. Some farmers sell entire harvests without covering equipment rentals. In rice belts, veterans consider abandoning the crop, not for lack of love, but because it drains resources. They cut costs, asking, is next season even possible? Surplus yields, once a pride, now burden operations. When rice, as essential as bread, can't sustain farmers, what hope is there for export-driven crops? Can rice farmers diversify to recover? Any ideas? Reflecting on pecans and rice, I believe agriculture thrives when we blend tradition with innovation. Supporting growers secures our food supply. Let's invest in that daily. Number 6. Sorghum. Sorghum, the rugged survival crop, once thrived in harsh conditions with minimal cost. But in 2025, it's binding farmers in a decade's worst squeeze. Exports have collapsed, leaving silos in Kansas, Texas, and Colorado overflowing, not from bumper crops, but from no buyers. Contracts worth millions vanish overnight. At $4 per bushel, below planting costs, farmers sow to avoid losing land leases or loan access, pouring effort into a crop with no promise of return. Domestic demand ticks up slightly, but most sorghum sits in sealed containers, with cancelled trucks lining idle fields. Some farmers sell equipment or land to scrape by. Most are stuck, clinging to hope. Sorghum reflects a system neglecting its backbone. If this resilient crop isn't viable, what's left for pricier ones? What role could sorghum play in modern farming? As we shift to cotton's vast fields, historic anchors are fraying. If this resonates, comment your farming stories and subscribe to Top 10 America Beyond for more. Number 5. Cotton. Southern fields once bloomed with cotton, weaving communities together with reliable income. In 2025, that promise unravels as market forces turn planting into a gamble. The National Cotton Council reports a 14.5% drop in U.S. cotton acreage, down to 9.4 million acres, a decade low. Prices hover below production costs, with global stocks at 76.1 million bales, outpacing U.S. demand. In Texas, nearly 1 million fewer acres are planted as fertilizer and fuel costs outstrip wholesale values. Imports from less regulated regions flood markets, sidelining U.S. quality. Small farms face net losses, eroding equity. When cotton falters, gins slow, and towns feel the pinch, growers hold on, hoping for demand or policy shifts. Can boosting domestic textile demand save cotton? Any ideas? As we move to corn's vast rows, abundance masks deeper struggles. Sorghum and cotton teach us that fair markets are vital. Choosing U.S. products supports rural life. Every purchase strengthens our shared future. Number 4. Corn. Vast cornfields dance along the Midwest's highways, evoking images of boundless prosperity and the heartland's golden promise, yet stepping off the road uncovers a stark tale of relentless strain, where farmers battle daily to turn potential plenty into mere survival. In 2025, U.S. growers have boldly expanded planting to 95.3 million acres, a 5% increase from last year, eyeing a staggering 15.82 billion bushel harvest that could shatter records with yields averaging 181 bushels per acre, according to the latest USDA WASDE report. But this surge in supply proves a double-edged sword as domestic feed demand climbs while exports falter under tariff shadows and global competition, causing ending stocks to swell and prices to plummet below sustainable levels. The financial toll is brutal, with Illinois projections revealing average losses of $73 per acre on high-productivity land, marking another year of red ink for many as operating costs soar. Seed alone hitting $115.49 per planted acre, and fertilizer pushing totals to $871 nationwide. While diesel lingers above $5 a gallon in key regions, forcing agonizing decisions to skimp on essential nutrients and risk lower yields or pile on high-interest debt to maintain quality. Ports hum with less activity, ethanol plants shorten runs amid weakening gasoline forecasts, and the supply chain tightens link by link, squeezing margins to the bone, as farmers put on a stoic face for families and lenders but privately grapple with mounting pressure like a storm on the horizon, wondering if this oversupply cycle will snap or further entangle their legacies in these endless rows. It's a poignant reminder that abundance can breed adversity, highlighting the urgent need for smarter marketing and policy tweaks. And as we pivot to soybeans, expect parallel woes in export-reliant realms. What innovative tools or apps have you used to navigate corn's wild price swings this year? Number 3. Soybeans. Scatter soybean seeds across sun-drenched prairies, nurture them to golden maturity, only to face harvest moments marred by vanishing commitments and evaporating markets. In 2025, U.S. soybean acreage has contracted to 83.5 million acres, a 4% slide from 2024, reflecting growers' pivot toward corn amid unfavorable margins. A production forecast point to a dip, yet the real headwinds come from ongoing trade tensions with China, where escalating tariffs tighten already slim profits and heighten export uncertainties. Domestic crush rates are ticking up for biofuels, but global shifts, like Brazil's surging supply, challenge use competitiveness. Facilities report output cuts up to 40% in spots, with bushels languishing in storage as overseas shipments face delays or outright halts. Input hikes of 30 to 50% for essentials like pesticides and machinery outpace meager price gains, turning planting into a compliance ritual to maintain leases. Veteran operators witness younger generations opting out, not for adventure, but to evade an arena where effort yields diminishing returns. One regional leader put it starkly, "We're chasing demand stories that keep slipping away." The erosion isn't just financial, it's the dwindling spark that once fueled multi-generational commitment. As we approach wheat's expansive heartlands, expect echoes of these global and cost-driven strains. Have trade policies impacted your soybean operations? What adaptations work best? Number 2. Wheat. Wheat has always offered a subtle reliability, a crop where planting led straightforwardly to sustenance and stability without overcomplication. But in 2025, that dependability is fracturing under layers of economic and environmental strains. Winter wheat production is up 2% from last year, yet farmers in belts from Texas to Montana are opting to bale crops for hay early to minimize losses amid lagging harvests and subpar conditions. Prices are forecasted at $5.50 per bushel, a slight dip, failing to cover soaring inputs like fertilizers. Drought affects 24% of the crop, up from prior weeks, exacerbating yield variability, despite overall global strength that keeps values suppressed. Exports may hit a 5-year high, but domestic growers face ROI projections as low as -18%, prompting calls for enhanced safety nets amid rising costs. Fields once symbols of pride now prompt hard pauses, with families halting cycles unbroken for decades as stockpiles grow and contracts thin. This shift signals broader industry unease, where even essentials grapple with imbalance. Transitioning to tomatoes, vegetable plots' vulnerabilities mirror these vast grain dilemmas. What wheat variety or practice has proven resilient for you in 2025? Number 1. Tomatoes. California's tomato vines burst red in 2025, but the harvest buzz is gone, replaced by grim math. Processing acres are shrinking, with global output below 40 million metric tons, down 12% from low contracts. Bacterial spot and climate swings cut yields, raising treatment costs. Tariffs may push U.S. prices to $1.70 per pound, but labor shortages and rising inputs squeeze farmers. Imports undercut the buy local ethos, leaving crates unsold. Growers, once stewards of abundance, question their role in a system favoring foreign goods. When tomatoes become liabilities, what's left for vast crops? Are we doing enough to support our farmers? On Top 10 America Beyond, we honor their work. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for stories mainstream skips. Wheat and tomatoes show farmers deserve our action. Buying local builds a stronger food future for all. America's farmers plant in uncertainty, harvest in doubt, and face losses season after season. When core crops lose viability, what's next? This Top 10 America Beyond exploration analyzes real trends, respecting all regulations. Our data-driven views aim to empower reflection and action.